So this month I would like to participate in Middle Grade March, March Mystery Madness, and the Koreadathon. Plus, I also have a couple of books to read for my own book club, the No Cover Charge book club, and I would like to fulfill the Buzzwordathon prompt and the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge prompt. Not to mention, I really need to be reading through my Book of the Month Club books, which is my main challenge for the year of 2022. So let me just tell you what all I'm planning on reading in order to fulfill all of these challenges and readathon prompts. Okay, so let's start with the No Cover Charge book club. This is a book club that I run with my husband. We choose different books every month and then do a live show where we discuss the book with you all. This month in March, the book that we have chosen is going to be a historical fiction mystery that is set in Korea during the 1800s and the Joseon dynasty. So we have chosen The Silence of Bones by June Her. So it's following this young woman who has been indentured to the police bureau, and she is helping to investigate the murder of like a noblewoman. And then I think maybe the man that she works with on the police force, he becomes a suspect, and maybe it's up to her maybe to figure out exactly what all happened. Anyway, in February or January, I read a different book by June Her and absolutely loved it. And so I'm looking forward to reading this one. In March, our live show is going to be on March the 18th, which is a Friday, and it's going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, definitely join us and read this along with us. We're looking forward to the discussion, and if you are participating in the Koreadathon, this will fulfill one of those prompts as well. I'll get to all of those prompts in a second though. Okay, then also for the No Cover Charge book club, we are reading a bonus book. In February, we read A Court of Thorns and Roses. And then in the live discussion, we all, got to talking about how we wanted to continue the series. And so we decided to do this second book as a kind of bonus book and not the main book club choice, because not everyone, read it along with us. So that means you might not be ready to read the second one along with us. But anyway, we are going to read A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And I'm going to read this in March, but the live show is actually on April the 1st. So that means I need to get it done towards the end of March. And then the live show will also be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, on April the 1st, we'll be discussing this. I'm really looking forward to it. You'll have to stay tuned for my thoughts on the first book, but obviously I'm continuing on, so it couldn't have been too terrible, right? Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the second book, so this should be fun too. Then let's jump into the other readathons and prompts. Maybe I should go with the yearly challenges. So the Buzzwordathon, the word for March is, I think, places. So they have to have like a place name in the title. And anything that I talk about, these readathons or challenges, I will leave them linked in the description box so that you can go and check out those announcements for them so you can get more information about it. The Buzzwordathon is hosted and run by Kayla at Books and Lala. But like I said, I will leave that down in the description box. So I have chosen 3 books off of my Book of the Month Club TBR for the place name challenge, and we'll see which one I actually end up getting to. First, I have The Paris Hours by Alex George. This one is a historical fiction book that is taking place in Paris in 1927, and it sounds like maybe it's going to have some actual historical figures in it, some people that were, really alive during that time period. And I've had this for a while, so I really would like to get to this one. We'll see how that goes. I have The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany by Lori Nelson Spielman. So this one is about a family who, like years ago, one of the sisters hexed the other sister, and ever since then, the sisters cannot find love, I think is what it is. So they are going to go to Italy to try to get rid of the curse. So yeah, I'm actually surprised. I don't think I knew what this was about whenever I bought this like a year ago. I didn't realize that this had like a hex in it. So I'm wondering if this is just like, you know, a fake hex and there's not really any magic in this book, but I didn't realize that there was even like the idea of a hex or a curse in this book. So this should be interesting for sure. And I really haven't read that many things set in Italy, so that should be fun. Then the third choice that I have is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one is a book that's taking place in Malibu in 1983, I think. It's about this family of really like rich people and the kids, like grown-up adult kids. They have this summer party every year, and this is following that party in 1983 and everything that happens. I think that this may have like flashbacks to stuff that's happened in their past, and then a whole bunch of like hijinks I think happens at this summer party. I've heard mixed reviews about this one, but obviously I'm still going to give it a try to see what I think. I have mixed feelings on Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I haven't loved them all, so it'll be interesting to see what I think about this one. And for March Mystery Madness, the theme this year is 2x2, so you're supposed to do, you know, something any way you want to interpret it, but like, you know, it can be the second book in a series, or you can read 2 books in a series, or you can do multiples of 2 and read like 4 or 6 or 8 of a certain thing. Anyway, I've decided to make it be 2 books by the same author, and since I am reading The Silence of Bones by June Her, which I already talked about, I am going to try to also read the other book of hers that I haven't read called The Forest of Stolen Girls. This obviously is by June Her, and it's taking place in historical Korean setting as well, and also a mystery. So that's really all I know about this one. All of her books are historical mysteries. So then the other thing that I am doing is the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. That is a year-long challenge as well, and the prompt for March is growth. So I think you can interpret that however you want as well. The title can have like a growth word on it, or there can be something growing on the cover. So for that one, I'm thinking that this will work. There's a whole bunch of flowers on the cover and the word forest. Both of those, you know, have something to do with growing things or growth. Yeah, so hopefully that will work. Also, I think this has a whole bunch of flowers on it as well, and trees and stuff, so that one should work too if I get to that one. Now let's talk about the Koreadathon, which is a week-long readathon that is hosted by Monica Kim. I will leave her announcement video down in the description box so you can go and get all the information you need about this. But the first book I'm going to read for this is going to fulfill 2 challenges, which is to read a book translated from Korean and to read a graphic novel or a manhwa. So I have chosen to do Grass. This was originally written in Korean, and I believe this is a historical fiction book that it's been translated by Janet Hong, and it is about comfort women, or women that were basically taken by military right after or during the war and used as basically, you know, like sex slaves, I want to say. I haven't read anything about this topic, so I am interested in this for sure, and I think it's probably going to be a heartbreaking graphic novel, but something that, you know, I probably need to know more about. So I am really looking forward to this, even though, like I said, it's probably going to make me really sad. But yeah, this will fulfill 2 challenges, and this does have grass on the cover, and I think grass is a growing word, so this should be able to work for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge as well. The next prompt is to read a historical fiction novel, so I can use Silence of the Bones for this by June Her, or if I end up making it to The Forest of Stolen Girls, this one is also a historical fiction. So I'm reading these for other challenges as well, so they're going to do double duty. Next challenge is to read an award-winning Korean novel, and for that I'm choosing When You Trap a Tiger by Tay Keller. This one is the winner of the Newbery Medal, I think in 2020. This one is also a middle grade novel that is following a young girl whose family moves in with her grandmother, I think to take care of her grandmother because she is either getting older or she's sick. I'm not sure exactly why. And the grandmother starts to tell them a whole bunch of like Korean myths and folklore and stuff. And I think a lot of it involves a tiger, and I think this one might be like magical realism. So yeah, I've heard good things about this one and I'm really looking forward to it. So hopefully this will go well as well. Then you're supposed to read a book that has been recommended by a Korean celebrity. For that, I'm going to choose Almond by Wong Pong's son. This has also been translated from Korean, so I could use it to fulfill that prompt as well. But this was recommended by a couple of members of BTS, which is a Korean singing group. They were actually seen reading this novel on one of their reality shows, and so I wanted to read it ever since I saw them reading it and talking about how much they enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to this one. This one is about a young boy or a young man, I think he's like an adolescent, who was born with a brain condition that makes it hard for him to feel emotions like fear or anger, and I think it's like a coming of age story. So it's pretty short and I have to get to this. I really want to read this one. Then the last prompt for the Koreadathon is to read a book featuring a Korean diaspora character. And now I think Monica Kim was using this book to fulfill that prompt. And so if she says this has a diaspora character in it, I'm going to believe her and just trust that this will work out for me as well. So obviously, I mean, I don't know for sure because I haven't read it yet, but if she says it does, I'm hoping that it does. The last readathon I wanted to talk about is the Middle Grade March. There we go. So Middle Grade March is taking place over the entire month of March, and it is hosted by the Curly Reader, Books and Jams, and Katie at Life Between Words. And I will leave their announcement videos down below, like all of the other information. So for this, I am going to try to fulfill as many challenges as I can, just like all the other ones, but I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of these. Some of them I'm doing double duty with the other readathons, so hopefully those I will be able to get to. But okay, so the first thing is the group read, which is going to be Pony by RJ Palacio. This I already have checked out from the library digitally, and so I'm hoping to get to this. Well, I have to, like, within the first week of March, because otherwise I won't have it anymore. So I'm really hoping to get to this one soon so that I can join in on their discussion about this book. This one is about a boy whose father, I think, has been kidnapped, and then a ghost shows up and a pony, and I think he decides to go and try to rescue his dad. So this sounds like magical realism or fantasy as well. So I'm hoping this is good. It sounds a little bit different, but I've enjoyed Wonder, which was written by RJ Palacio. So I'm trusting that this is going to be a good read too. Then the other prompts are to read a book with 5 or more words in the title. For this one, I'm going to do double duty and also use this one for the prompt to read a contemporary book, and that is going to be Keep It Together, Keiko Carter by Debbie Machiko Florence. And this will also work for a book set in Asia or featuring an Asian main character. So this one can fulfill 3 challenges. It is really just a traditional contemporary story following this young girl who is in 7th grade, I believe, and she is just navigating school and friends and, you know, starting to get crushes on boys and that type of thing. So it's very, you know, just a straight contemporary story. I'm really looking forward to reading this one, seeing if it's something that will also work for my kids to be able to read. And then also for those challenges, When You Trap a Tiger, which I'm reading for Koreadathon, will also work for 5 or more words in the title, as well as an Asian main character. So between these two, I should be able to check off a couple of prompts at least. The other one that I'm going to read is for a book featuring an orphan main character, and I'm finally going to read Winterhouse by Ben Gutterson. So this is about a young girl who has been orphaned. I guess her parents have died. I'm not sure the backstory, but her aunt and uncle, or just her aunt, yeah, her aunt and uncle ship her off to the ominous Winterhouse Hotel. And I think once she gets there, a bunch of mysterious things start to happen. So this may be able to work for March Mystery Madness as well. I think this one has a little bit of a mystery in it. So yeah, that'll be fun. And if I have a ton of time, I could read the second one of these, and that will definitely count for March Mystery Madness, because that would be, you know, 2 by 2. we'll see how much time I end up having in the month of March. I really want to read a ton of things. I just don't know how that's going to work out for me. So the last challenge for March, for middle grade March, is to read a book that is older than you are. And I do not have anything picked out for this challenge. So honestly, like right now, I'm not really in the mood to read any like classic middle grade books. But if in the middle of March I decide that I am feeling that way, then I will probably read A Little Princess. I do have that on my shelf and I haven't read it yet. So that's the one that I have like in the back of my mind as maybe a possibility, but it's definitely probably like the last thing on my list. Yeah, so those are the books that I'm planning on reading in March. It's actually a ton of books and I don't know if I will be able to get to them all. Probably not, but I'm going to do the best that I can and get through as many as I can. So yeah, so look in the description box for all the information on these different challenges and readathons. Let me know if you are participating in any of these. March is always a really fun month where I try to get a ton of reading done and not feel overwhelmed at the same time. But yeah, so let me know what you're reading. If you've read any of these books, I would love to know. Let me know if you are joining us for the No Cover Charge book club this month. I'm really looking forward to this book. I've been wanting to read it for a while now, so I'm glad we are going to do it and be able to discuss it with you all. And I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you next time. Bye.